Well, hello folks, and thank you for joining us today for this session of visualizing your project with an extra dimension in Pro3D. And I will take you through Pro3D workflows, explain what it does and what it can do for your projects. Let's take a look at what we'll cover. So first we'll talk about why should we even assess projects in 3D space. We'll go through the overview of the features that are available in Pro3D. Afterwards, I'll give you a demonstration of the actual software with the features in an actual project. And finally, we'll wrap up with some conclusions, and of course, we'll take your questions and provide answers to those. Okay, so the question is, why even use Pro3D or just a 3D environment? Well, first of all, we're not saying that it's going to replace your 2D analysis, but what it will give you is an insight of your overall area. And that's kind of tough to get in a 2D map, especially when you're missing the depth aspect of it. The second part is that it tends to be easier to spot these sweet spots when you're looking at things in the 3D space. And also, when you have correlation issues between some surfaces, it's easier to spot them when you can see the entire project at hand. And that's easier to do with that extra 3D dimension. Alright, so what can we do with Pro3D? Let me give you a quick overview here. First, you can view all of your geologic surfaces, your isomap surfaces, and your frame builder 3D geomodeled surfaces that come from Smart Section. So you're taking a small little clip here and you saw how that's done. Now, what about draping surfaces? We can drape any of the Esri layers that you have in your Geo Atlas map. So for example, all you do is click on a surface, make a selection. For this example, I will select a satellite image. As you see over here, I changed its opacity. I'm actually going to drape some field planning layers on it, and also I just draped a culture layer on it as well. And you could do that with any of the layers available to you from Geo Atlas. In other words, we've integrated Geo Atlas, Smart Section, and Pro3D pretty deeply. All right, what about log curves? Well, you can display log curves, different ones that you have, gamma ray, DT, whatever it is, resistivity that you're displaying. You can also refine parameters and also make different views. As you see over here, we have some of them are blade views and others are lathe views. Microseismic is another thing that we can also handle in 3D. This includes showing the timeline and the animation of the microseismic events. Now you'll notice that the animation can be done with the radius being constant or changing by magnitude. Now, a great thing that we can do here is also display any attributes in 3D as bubble maps. So for example, we can take data from Zone Manager, permeability, porosity, or whatever it is that you want to see on these wells, and go ahead and map them exactly to the wells. So now you have a better idea spatially of what is going on and where your parameters are big and small across the entire area. Same thing applies to production analysis. You have your production data in Wellbase. Well, now you can make pie charts and bubble maps out of it that show the gas, the oil, and the water production. Formation tops. Well, these are quite important when you have wells and you have logs and you have prism log templates, especially showing detailed logs. You want to see if your formation tops are in the right place. And we can do that not only by displaying them, but also by giving you an ability to move them if you see that they're in the wrong location by looking at the logs. The surfaces will update as you saw right now. But we also give you the ability to create formation tops on specific wells. And with that in mind, a powerful feature is that we also have fence diagrams that are displayed in 3D. And you can select the wells. You can select the cross section, first of all, either an X section or Smart Section. And those fence diagrams, those cross sections, will be shown in a 3D scene. You can select either a lithology view or a color view. With that said, you can then edit that data by using the histogram tool that we have in Pro3D. Now, I just mentioned histogram, so I might as well talk about it. Now, histogram color analysis This is pretty nifty. For any surface, any of the seismic, or any of the cross-section, you can manipulate the colors and manipulate the start and the end ranges right within the 3D scene. As you see right over here, we are doing for the seismic. Okay? In terms of seismic, you can drape seismic, you can also animate through it, and you can also drape seismic right along the wellbore as well. This is especially great when you're doing field or well planning. All right, so this is just a really quick preview just to give you a taste of what we'll talk about. But let's go ahead and dive in. What we see here is Geo Atlas, and we see the map of the Barnett Shale in this project. You'll notice the red lines over here are field plans that we have put down, but also we have wells that exist, and they are blue in this situation. And for this example, what I want to do is I want to see this entire map in the 3D scene. So how do I do that? Well, it's really simple. All I do is I'm going to go ahead and select the proper 3D region, and I'm going to select this rectangle tool and say, okay, you know what? I want to create a rectangular box around this region right here. I'm going to give it a name and say, let's go ahead and load that into 3D. What happens? What happens is everything you see in the layer display selection bar in Geo Atlas, right over here, all these well-based layers, all these surfaces and field plans and whatever else you have here, that's what's going to get loaded initially into Pro 3D. There it is, it loaded up, and you'll notice on the left-hand side we have a tree. Very similar tree structure with a little eye and items in here. And you'll notice we have wells, we have those surfaces, and we have the image file. Okay, I'm going to close the image file. Let's go ahead and zoom in. Now, to move around, you can either use your mouse totally just by zooming onto a location and scrolling in and scrolling out. It's quite simple. Or you can also use the keyboard and the mouse at the same time. All right, in this case, once we zoom in, we notice this surface right over here. And what I want to do with it is I want to put a map on it. And in essence, what I mentioned before was that you can drape Esri layers on here, right? So what I'm going to do is click on it. And when you click on it or click on any object in the 3D scene, all the relevant options will come up in this properties area right over here on the left. So I click on it and I'm going to say, okay, I want to see my satellite image draped right on top of this. Boom. There we go. So that gives us a little bit of a better spatial analysis. And you know what? I also want to see my existing plans that I put down. And also, how about we show the actual Texas polygons over here? Okay, great. So as you see, you can customize it pretty well, and you can do this for any of the surfaces. I could have done it for the bottom surfaces, but I chose the top one in this situation. Okay, let's dive in to the scene, and we're going to go right through it. Boom, into our underground. What's going on over here? Okay, so a couple of these layers I'm going to turn off, just so we can better see what's going on. Okay, we have the Barnett pay zone over here. We have these wells that we drilled with the field planner and well planner and the target points, but we also have existing wells that are located right over here. Now let me show you what else we can do with these wells here. So I'm going to go into the import well dialog box, and let's go ahead and put some log curves on here. I'm going to select all the wells for this example, and I'm going to say, hey, let's go ahead and put up the gamma ray log curve. And there we go. We see all the gamma ray log curves loaded. Now, again, I can just click on the well. For this example, I'll just right click and say, select the gamma ray curve. Over here, you can change options. I have it as blade. I can change it as lathe display if I wanted to. I can also manipulate the track angles and also change some other styles, including the fill options and the flipping the values. All right, I can also load two curves if I wanted to on that well bore. Now, what's a well without some formation tops? So let's go back into the wells data importer and go ahead and load some formation tops. I'm going to select all. I'm going to load them. When you see red, that means it could not load the formation tops because they are not found. And that's okay. That's because I did not select the correct source. So I'm going to reselect the source, select it all, and load. You'll notice a couple of them were loaded, but only for one well because I selected one well. We don't want that. We want all 61 wells. Select and load. There we go. Let me turn off the surface, and you'll notice you have formation tops. Now you have something to work with. Now, once you're analyzing your formation tops, you can also put in a custom prism log template on here as well that you took from our prism package. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to load this clay minerals and organic shale log template. And there we go. It is loaded up. So now I have a better way to compare what's going on. And you'll notice that the log template is actually quite readable. It's got a high resolution to it. You can see the curves. So if we go down, back down to the well, and if we see a discrepancy of where the formation top is located, we can move that formation top. To do that, just go ahead and select the formation top, say move top, and put it in the right location. And there we go, and it updates in the database. In addition, you can also create a formation top as well with this dialog. Now, I've mentioned the microseismic and the zones, the ability to show the attributes on any of the wells. So I'll take a look at this production right over here. We can actually click on the production and load up these values for production. And let's go ahead and do that. And if I go to the tree, any items that get loaded, you'll notice they will be apparent in the tree. And we just had the production added in here. Okay, so let's take a look at those results. And as we go up, let's first of all click on the production, and what we're going to do here is just increase the radius so that it's more visible. And of course, the production results for your wells will look like this. You'll actually have pie charts all over the aerial view showing you how much water production you have, how much gas and oil production you have for these wells. The other thing you'll notice is if we go into the import well data is that we can also load in the perforations for these wells. So let's go ahead and do that. And you'll notice it just showed up. So these are all the perforations that are going on for this well. These are the perforations that we have for this well. And these are, again, useful when you're doing analysis of where the sweet spots must be or where you should plan your next well. Now I'm touching the surface of these many options that I'm showing you here. I'm not really going into the properties that you can change within each of these objects, like formation tops and log templates, because it gets a little more detailed. One of the other neat tools that we have here is the ability to measure from any well to any well, or any well to any surface, pretty much any object to any object. You can make measurements to, and you can save those measurements as well right into the tree. Alright, so what we have just seen is the ability to use Pro3D within Geo Atlas. Let me show you another side of this. And what we're going to do is I'm going to close this and show you Pro3D that's launched from Smart Section. What I have open is Smart Section over here, and you'll see we actually have a cross section within Smart Section right over here in violet. Let me bring it up so you get to see it. We have a seismic backdrop, and these surfaces of different colors, those are actually Frame Builder live geo-modeled surfaces. All right, over here the procedure is very similar. All you do is select a rectangle of the area that you want to see in Pro3D. So I selected this. I'm going to draw a rectangle over here. I'm going to say map 3 and say launch in 3D. All right, there we go. Again, all those items that were in the map, in the tree here, they are going to get loaded in Pro3D. So I can go ahead and zoom in a little closer. You'll notice there's a lot more surfaces over here since we're dealing with some of these frame builder surfaces. And when I drop it down on the tree, you'll notice a lot of them right over here. Okay, let me turn it off for a second here. And so this is the fence diagram. Now you'll notice it's looking black a little bit, but what we're going to do is I'm going to click on it, and you can display the lithology, or you can also display the color. Now if you do the color, of course it has to go off of some kind of a log. There's supposed to be a log interpolation. So right click on it, and you can say update cross section, and I'm going to put the gamma ray as the log interpolation on it. And there we go. You'll notice the wells updated with the log templates displayed on them, and also the fence diagram updated. Now the colors seem to be a little bit off. Now what we're going to do is we have this palette editor right here, but we're going to fix the histogram just a little bit. We open the histogram, and I'm going to select the yellow-green, and let me move the ranges to something a little more reasonable. There we go. That makes much better sense, so I can see where the shaly and the sandy areas are. You'll notice that it correlates properly with the logs that are right on the well. Now let's do this. Let's go ahead and put a seismic backdrop right on it. Boom, there we go. It's following that fence diagram directly. And since we have it following the fence diagram, what we're going to do here is we're going to decrease the opacity of the fence diagram just a little bit. So now we can do some co-blending. You'll notice that the seismic follows those surfaces pretty precisely in the 3D view. Except it seems like we have a little bit of a problem here. We take a look at the seismic, we take a look at the logs, and we notice this formation top is way out of place. Okay, so let me go ahead and turn on the surfaces themselves so you can see the surfaces pass right through that point. You see that? I just turned on one surface. I'll turn on a couple more here, and let me lower the opacity down a little bit. There we go. So we have a better way to, there we go, visualize it. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and select this formation top. When you highlight over it, select it. And what we're actually going to do is we're going to move that formation top a little bit down according to the log here. So select it, move top, and I'm going to move it in its proper position, which was not right there actually. There we go. That looks a little bit better. Okay, and at this point what I can do is I can refresh the geo model itself. And when I do that, you'll notice that this surface right here automatically updates in 3D space. This geo modeled surface has now updated in 3D space. It has updated through Smart Section. And now you actually have the correct position of this formation top. Easy as that. Now let me show you a little bit of a better view here. What you can do is you can also cut the slices to help you better visualize what's going on. So in order to do that, I'm going to do this. And as you see, as I cut the slices, you'll see how they follow the fence diagram and those formation tops right there. All right, in terms of seismic, we can also put cross lines and inlines anywhere on the map. So for example, I can import seismic right through here, and it picks it up from size vision. I can select where to put it, and you'll notice that a seismic line gets created. Again, you can always change the palettes. You can also use the histogram in order to adjust it. Whoops, the seismic line was actually created right over here. And in addition, you can also animate the seismic as well as you move it back and forth through your entire scene. So in terms of seeing the basics of what you can do in Pro3D, these are the very big basics. Now, I did not show the integration of field planner, well planner. You can also view any of these wells from within here into Wellbase. It's coupled pretty tightly with GeoGraphix itself, but you get the idea of how powerful this can be when you couple all these different things together, and how powerful it can be for analysis of your wells and to select where you should next best drill your well in. So today we saw a demo of Pro3D, and we saw the whole integrated package with different options such as the fence diagrams, the seismic, the log curves, the formation tops, the ability to actually move those formation tops with the seismic itself. Pro3D integrates a lot of these different features, and it also integrates different GeoGraphix modules into one place. And this includes Geo Atlas, Smart Section, Field Planner, Well Planner, Size Vision, and even Wellbase into one package. Now, viewing things from the map is great for some things, but when you have this extra dimension, depth, you can start to see your field as a whole integrated process instead of just seeing it on the surface, which allows you to pick up small things such as potential sweet spots or perhaps errors in correlation between the wells. Thank you for joining us today. If you have any more questions and you want to see some more of the demos that we have of the products that are coming out, please take a look at our website, lmkr.com/geographix/demos. If you'd like more information about Pro3D or request a quote, please talk to your regional sales manager. Thank you for joining us today, and have a nice day.